Welcome to Intuitive Offerings to Manifest a Kick-Ass Life. Today we're going to talk about wonder and intuitive development. My name is Candace Parisi, and I'm an intuitive counselor, an intuitive teacher, and a world traveler. And today we are in Tonopah, Arizona, in the middle of the desert. I'm at a hot springs recharging for the day. And the sun is setting, the weather is perfect, and I've spent the day relaxing and enjoying the hot springs. The water is very hot, and the desert's hot too, but that's why you get out. And there's a cold pool over here so that you can go back and forth. But this is such a wonderful day, and this is such a great place, and it's kind of in the middle of nowhere, and it's kind of a secret place. But these are the kind of places that I like to go to when I'm traveling. So here we are in the middle of Arizona at a beautiful hot springs. And I'm so excited today to talk to you about wonder and intuitive development. So wonder is something that we have when we're born. So wonder is such innately like the very first thing that happens to us. So when we come out of the womb, everything is like, whoa. And then as time goes on, we wear out and we see the same thing over and over again, or we enjoy the same things less because we experience them more. But as a child and as a newborn especially, everything is the very first time, and we're in this state of wonder. But we forget the wonder. We forget that very grounded, very intuitive state in ourselves. When we develop our intuition, we become more in touch and more in tune with that presence, with that wonder, with that important piece that sometimes we let go of because we're busy and we're important. and so when we're kids, for instance, it's Halloween tomorrow. A kid can dress up as Superman and be completely convinced that he's Superman. And he's totally into it, and his life is filled with this like excitement and this feeling. But when we grow older, we put on our own kind of outfits, and we put on our business suits, we put on our mother's suit, we put on our, different, outfits of caregiving, different outfits of being stressed out, different outfits of anxiety, and we forget our wonder. And if we, on a regular day, if an adult dressed up as Superman, people will have a problem with it. So we don't do that. But we can have a sense of wonder in our life every single day. I make sure that whatever I'm doing and wherever I'm at, I'm being 100% present. So what does that mean? When you're coming from your gut and when you're coming from your intuitive source inside of you, you feel like you're in the right place at the right time. You feel like you're sitting in a space in your life that you're supposed to be in. It's wonder. It's like a kid in the sandbox and just fucking having the best time of his life. And then, at some point another kid's gonna come in your sandbox and say, hey, sandboxes are stupid and you're stupid. And then you're going to start to question, oh my God, like something like 2 seconds before that you thought was the coolest shit ever, somebody comes into your life and is like, you're stupid and sandboxes are stupid. And then all of a sudden you're questioning yourself. You're questioning, oh, well, maybe that person's right. And that's how we kind of move away from wonder, move away from self-care, move away from intuition. We let it go because we want to make sure we chameleon to the room, that we play safe, that we come from a place where we think that we will succeed. We want to make sure that we are taking care of the room instead of realizing that who we are and what we are is good enough. Where we're at and our ability to communicate the way that we do is wonderful. And we are wonderful. We are full of wonder. And we just forget. And so my invitation to you in your intuitive development is to find moments of presence. I do that by traveling, honestly. I really like to go new places and meet new people and have very present experiences, and that kind of puts me back into, if I'm having a really hard day, or, I don't know the last time I had a really hard day, but like if I'm having hard days or full days, I'll escape and I'll come to a place like this and sit here and watch the sunset and just be filled with wonder. There's a million birds, and there's also bees, and I hate bees, but there's bees, and there's people, there's strange people, totally into them though, and there's just this newness, the same kind of newness that feeling that kids have. That's where I want to always come from when I'm being an intuitive guide for other people. I come from a place of being present as if I'm with nobody else, and I've never met this person before, and this is the first time. And when you come up to the first time situations in your life, and especially when you're being that for other people, it's life-changing. Everybody wants to be known. Everybody wants to be seen and heard. But when we talk over. When we see people, we're thinking about how they see us. When we communicate, we're hoping that we sound right or we don't sound stupid. We're always having that second problem-solving brain get in the way and say, "Ooh, I hope that was good." What about if we showed up to life in a new way? If we showed up to our life in a new way just 10% of the time. So when we come up against a moment where our brain is like, "Hey, sandboxes are stupid and you're stupid," there's, and people are going to come into our life that are going to be like, "Hey, your hair, or you should lose some weight, or maybe, Candace, you're too spontaneous. Maybe you should settle in." There's all sorts of different directions that people can play in with me or anybody, and I honestly, I realize that it's coming from their point of view, which I'm completely open to, and I feel like everybody comes from their own safe place. Everybody comes from their own eyes. And so when somebody looks at you with their eyes and has something to feel about you, remember that it's from their conditioning, their eyes, and really hardly has anything to do with you usually. And then you can just laugh it off. Everybody's got their own way of boxing in. So I lived in India for a long time, and India is a double-edged sword. India is dangerous a lot of the times, and I, being a woman, it was extra dangerous. But the thing about India that makes it magical is that every single moment you're like, "Holy shit." And it's in a positive and a negative way. It's the first time you've ever seen everything, and you'll never see it again. Everything is a first time in India. I was in a constant state of like, whoa, and shocked at stuff. I remember I was learning from a teacher there, and I took a break and I went for a walk. And I was walking actually to this temple in the middle of the water. It is a Sikh temple. It's called the Golden Temple. And and I was just walking along, enjoying the day, and everything was becoming more familiar to me because I had been there for a while. And I looked over to my right, and there was 5 people on the ground in a circle, but none of them had any arms or legs. So they were just torsos lying on the ground, singing at the top of their lungs, begging for money. And my mind, I've never seen anything like this before, and I had no intention of having my mind blown that day. But something about the positive, even the negatives, that's definitely an unfortunate situation. And I hung out for a while, and I gave them my money, but it's not always a positive situation that throws you into presence. It's not always a positive situation that propels you into a state of wonder. Sometimes it's shocking things in our life. And sometimes we can't move in our life or change in our life unless life hands us a moment of wonder that might be negative, that might be like, whoa, and then it shocks us into this moment of like personal change. It shocks us into a moment of realizing who we are for a moment. We can get super lost, and sometimes we're so lost that we need something huge to happen in our life to be found. And there's a yearning and a draw in every single one of us to be intuitive, to come from that place when we were young. We're all trying to go back there, and we're all moving into a place of getting older, which happens to usually have diapers involved with it and going back into a childlike state. And so in the middle, we get confused. In the middle, we forget our own presence in our own life. And so I really like to be in new situations and new conversations. I really like having moments where I disagree with somebody and I can be completely open to whatever they have to say. I don't need to judge, or I don't need to change, or I don't need to change myself. The things that other people bring into our life, they're there at the right place at the right time. All that is important is how we react to it, how we settle into it. What does it do for us? And so when we're in the moment of being present, which is what I invite you to do, is develop your intuition so that you can be present. So that when shocking things happen, both good and bad, when great things happen in our life, when terrible things happen in our life, we feel ready to move forward into it and safe in it, like we're being guided and that we're okay. So my invitation to you is to work on your intuition, is to work with a teacher, is to take my 5-week course on intuitive development at slctonline.com, is to get intuitive readings and find out what your passion and purpose is. Who are you from your gut? And it doesn't have to be you don't have to be Superman. You don't have to be the biggest movie star in the world. But how can you feel better when you're around your colleagues? How can you let go of guilt maybe inside of your parenting? How can you finish grieving a loved one? How can you move forward? Because we carry baggage in us and we lose our wonder in that baggage. We forget who we are because we're carrying around so many things from yesterday, and who we are is right now. And we can bring our experiences into right now, and we can grow from our experiences into now. But my invitation to you is to concentrate on what the now is that you're bringing it. What are you bringing into this moment? And so that's what I do when I work with people. And in doing, intuitive counseling, teaching classes, all the things I do is to propel people forward in their own life so that they can be their own intuitive guide, so that they can listen to their own heart. So that's where I'm always coming from. I'm always coming from that place because that's what I learned for myself. That's the gift that I gave to myself, and it was not easy for me. I had to work through my shit, and I had to, it's not like auras and pretty gold stars. There's sometimes things are hard, and it's showing up to the hard stuff, being present, seeing the wonder in it. And if the wonder makes you mad, get mad. If the moment makes you feel intensely happy, go for it. But it's a spectrum, and life is a full spectrum of emotion. Life is an extraordinary event, and we just forget. We forget how to listen. We forget how to find our core and find who we are. And we forget to follow our intuitive gut. And that's not something that most people don't do, or some people do. Everybody has a different degree of it. Everybody's intuitive at a different degree. Everybody experiences intuition differently. Everybody's an individual. Nobody's you, and you're wonderful. You are full of wonder, and my invitation to you is to remember that, so that you can manifest a kick-ass life. That's kind of the first step. I could certainly show up to these beautiful things that I love to do and, be on my phone, or, not present to the moment of it. And, then I would miss out. And sometimes we miss out. And that's okay too. But it's in the watching ourselves and moving forward in our life and letting go and forgiving ourselves, and then starting the next moment anew. And you can only do that when you let go of the baggage that you're hanging on to. We have such an idea of ourselves and a story of ourselves sometimes that there's no room for more. But there's infinite room for more. My invitation to you is to discover what else is inside of you, and to discover your own intuition and your own intuitive guidance in your life. And that's what I'm excited about every single day. That's my passion and purpose, and that's my gift to you today. So thank you for showing up for me. The sun is almost gone, and I'm going to hang out here for a couple more hours and just enjoy the evening and enjoy the stars, because I'm in the middle of nowhere, and so the stars are everywhere. And I am going to say have a great night, and thank you for joining me.